All right, section 4.2 is about financing, about borrowing money. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is installment loans. Installment loans mean this is money borrowed at a fixed period of time, so you start borrowing the money at time zero. And this is what we would consider a long-term loan. I mean, you make regular payments, almost always monthly, so we're going to do monthly examples. To pay off the loan, you not only pay off the loan, but you also have to pay off the interest. All right, that's accumulated to that point. So it's sort of the reverse of sort of compounding interest. And it's a little bit different because you pay off your debt a little bit at a time, and so the interest goes down. The interest accumulation goes down. All right, so the amount of interest you incur on your loan as you're paying it off goes down. All right, and then you pay it off over so many years. All right, so we will, again, almost everything that you get installment loans for, they're paid off monthly, at least your big loans. Right, this would be college loans, car loans, house loans, and things like that. Tend to be paid off monthly. All right, so the formula is actually fairly complex because you're making payments every month. You're paying off the interest plus a little bit of the debt. All right, and so it kind of, the formula figures that all in. All right, so like I said, it is a fairly complex formula, and you do have to be very careful when you're typing it out on the calculator. All right, so the formula is, and you don't have to memorize it, it's given to you on the formula sheet, installment loans. All right, there's two ways, depending on whether you're figuring out how much your monthly payment is or you're figuring out how much you can borrow. All right, so those are the two formulas. One set up for monthly payments, one set up for, well, how much can I take out on a loan if I can afford X monthly payments. So like I said, they're fairly complex, and you do have to be very careful when you're typing them out on the calculator. All right, so you've got your monthly, so payments are the monthly payments. That's the amount of money that you're going to pay off the loan, which pays off your interest for the month, plus a little bit on the what we call the principal, the amount of the loan. All right, so the loan is the amount you're going to borrow. Right, how much you borrowed for college, how much you borrowed for a car, how much you borrowed for a house. All right, that's the amount you borrowed. The payments is how much you're paying back every month. You're going to pay back, $200 a month to the bank or the investment center, wherever you took your loan out from. T is not time. Just like the compound interest case, T is the monthly payments. It's how often you're going to make a payment to the bank, right? It's the, again, since we're doing monthly here, 12 times a year, you're going to make payments. And so T is 12 times the number of years. All right, so if you take out a loan for 10 years, the 12 times 10, which is 120, you're going to make 120 payments. That's what that T represents. T represents the total of monthly payments altogether. All right, T is the total of payments you make. R is the monthly interest rate. Right, so again, just like the compounding interest formula, you take your APR, your annual percentage rate, divide it by 12, since we're doing this monthly, dividing it by 12, and that will give you your monthly interest rate. So that's how much percent they tack on an interest every month. All right, so that's the monthly percentage rate. So again, you take your APR as a decimal, divide it out by 12, because we're adding debt to adding your interest rate up every month. And just to note, because we're going to have to figure out interest eventually, the amount you pay back on your loan is your payments times T. T is how many of those payments you make, right? T is the number of payments that you make. And again, for us, it's going to be monthly. All right, so that is why T, when we find T, it's 12 times the years, right? How many years of your loan there are. All right, total interest paid over the lifetime of the loan is the amount you pay back, which is the payments times T, minus the amount you borrowed. All right, and the longer the loan, the more you pay in interest. A quick note: most graphical calculators, so if you've got a TI-83 or TI-84 or Inspire or one of those, there is a finance key in your calculator that will do this. However, since this class can have students that don't necessarily have, they might have just simple scientific calculators, I will be using the formula because not all students have the calculator with the finance key. If you want to use your calculator's finance key, that'll be up to you to go figure that out, or unless you already know how to do it. If you already know how to do it, and you're great. There are tons of YouTube videos over every single type of calculator out there. Like I said, simple graphing calculators don't do this, but your TI-83s, 84s, Inspire, some Casios do this as well, and there's a YouTube video out there for whatever version you have, and what you'll need to look up if you are going to do that is it's the finance key for installment loans, all right? Because there is a very specific way you have to type it into the calculator with pluses and minuses, and you have to be very careful. Do not round anything, whether you're using the finance key of the calculator or like I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be using the formula. Leave everything in the formula exact, all right? So when we do the monthly interest rate, if it doesn't come out to a nice decimal, leave it exactly whatever the fraction is. Do not round until the end of the problem, because you can have a significant rounding error, because these are very long-term loans. So if you round early, the difference in the amount can be significant, and you'll get marked wrong when you type it into the computer, when you type it in for your quizzes and your homework. So again, the difference, and the book does try to tell you this, and the same thing I try to tell you this, for anything in this class, no rounding until the end of the problem. Leave everything exact until the very end of the problem. And that's true for everything that we do in this class. Alright, so let's do an example. Alright, suppose that you borrow $17,000 with an APR of 6% for 8 years. Find your monthly payment, how much you'll pay back on the loan, calculate the total interest over the life of the loan, which is always the important things that you should do whenever you're taking out a loan. Alright, so again, I'm going to be using the formula. So I'm going to be using the formula for the monthly payment. Alright, the amount borrowed is the loan, and then R and T, and I'm going to figure out what R and T are. So I kind of do that over to the side. So remember, R is your APR written as a decimal, so 0.06. R's are always monthly payment, so that's divided by 12. This one does actually come out nice. It's 0.005. Leave it exactly 0. So that's the monthly interest rate. Alright, so every month, that's the interest rate, that's the interest that you incur each month over how much debt you have left. T is the total number of payments that they're going to make. So for 12 months, and the years are 8, right? For 12 months, so for 8 years, over every month, they're going to make a monthly payment. That's what we're figuring out. So it's 12 times 8 is the total number of payments. So 96. So 96 total monthly payments. So 96 times you're going to make a payment to the bank. At the end, at the 96th month, that's when you finally pay your loan off. Finally pay off the debt. Alright, so the amount borrowed, that's the loan. The amount borrowed is $17,000. So again, I'm going to be plugging it into, that's the principal, into the formula to find my monthly, the one that's, right, what we're asked for, find your monthly payment. And make sure you're careful. Up top is the loan amount, the $17,000, times R, exactly, so 0.005. And then this is 1 plus R, so I just go ahead and do the 1 plus R in my head, so it's 1.005. Raised to the 96, alright, so that's up top. In the bottom, and in the bottom you have to have this set of parentheses in the division. Again, the first part is 1 plus 0.005, so 1.005 raised to the 96, minus 1. So the minus 1 is separate, that 1 plus 0.005 to the 96. Because of that minus, you have to have this set of parentheses, so it divides by that whole thing. Alright, so again, that set of parentheses is important. Up top, you can multiply that out, and then hit divide. When you hit divide, you have to make sure this set of parentheses is around that subtraction, so it divides that subtraction. Alright, so make sure you're careful with that. So practice typing this in the calculator. Practice typing it in the formula if you're going to use the formula, if that's the way you're going to do it, and or practice it however you're going to do. You're going to use the finance key in the calculator, just make sure you practice it. You should get the exact same answer that I do either way, using the formula or the finance key. The monthly payment should be $223.40 will be the monthly payment. So every month For 96 months, you make that payment to pay off your loan. Alright, so there's the first part, so that's the monthly payment. So how much do you pay, which is also always important. So we want the total monthly payments. So you're going to take T, which is how many payments you make, times the monthly payment we just found. Right? So 96 times, you're going to pay back the bank every month $223.40. At the end of the 96 months, at the end of the 8 years, that last payment will pay it off completely. It means it'll pay off all of your debt plus all of the interest that you've incurred. And so you pay off a grand total of $21,446.40. That's how much you end up paying, and you always pay more than what you borrow, right? That's how banks make their money. And so to figure out, well, how much more? Well, that's the interest part. You take your total payments minus the loan, right? How much you borrowed, so what you paid minus what you borrowed. Well, you paid $21,446.40. You borrowed $17,000. The difference is the extra, which is the interest. So you paid an extra $4,406.40 in interest, which is typical for something as long as an 8-year loan. Right? So a lot of times, again, this will be typical of what happens with our loan, especially if it's a long loan. Right? 8 years is a long time to pay off a payment. Alright, stop there. I'll pick up the next examples in the next video.